Dynamic panel versus repeater, deep comparison. Dynamic panels and components are reusable elements that can change states. Today, I will demonstrate their efficiency and practicality. Which one is more convenient to use? Creating button variants. For example, let's say I need to create buttons at the bottom of a dialog for dialog operations. I need these buttons to have different variants that can be used in different scenarios. They can also be part of a design system. First, drag and drop a button and select Fit to Text Width and Fit to Text Height options. Choose the button primary medium from the widget style drop-down list to create a button variant. Convert it into a dynamic panel, copy 3 new states, and use the widget style to change their styles. This completes the dynamic panel with 4 button variants. Copy and paste a new button, move it into another dialog, and change the dynamic panel state to switch to another variant. Select Fit to Text Width and Fit to Text Height options. Dynamic panels are indeed efficient, and when turned into a library, they can become part of a design system. Next, let's try creating button variants using components. Enter the component editing mode and choose to add component views. Add 3 new component views without checking Affect All Views. Then, apply the widget style to the button in each component view. Go back to the page, copy a button below, and then change the component view to create another variant. As you can see, editing components is more complex than dynamic panels, takes more time, and requires editing in the component modal editing mode. Resizing. If I want to change the size of the button, for example, turning it into a block button, in one state of the dynamic panel, adjust the button to the desired size. However, with components, you cannot directly modify the size of the button on the canvas. You need to enter the modal editing mode and resize it. In the editing mode, the button loses its context. You are not sure how large it should be to match the width of the dialog box. You have to adjust its size multiple times. Alternatively, you can break down the component and then resize it, which is inconvenient. The component instance will lose its connection with the component. Adjusting the size of all internal elements. If you want to adjust the size of all internal elements in a dynamic panel, it can be quite cumbersome. Let's say we create the left dialog box as a dynamic panel. If you directly resize the dynamic panel, the sizes of its elements in each state will not change. You need to enter each state and adjust the element sizes individually. If there are multiple states, you need to adjust them one by one, which can result in inconsistent scaling. Similarly, adjusting the size of internal elements in different component views also encounters this problem. You need to enter the component modal editing mode and edit the element sizes in each view. However, entering the modal component editing mode loses the context. Interaction of dynamic panels and components. To add interaction to the button in the dynamic panel on the left to hide the dialog when clicked. With components, you need to perform multiple steps. Select the component button on the right, enter its view, and then choose Raise Event to add a click action. Then, go back to the canvas, select the button, add a click event, and hide dialog box 2. Preview the prototype, and when you click the button on the left, the dialog box disappears. Clicking the button on the right has no response. In Axure, you can see that the click action in the raise event was not checked. This is a mistake I often make, and it shows that components are not very convenient to use. Once checked, previewing the prototype and clicking the button will make the dialog disappear. Suggestions for improvement. 1. Ability to simultaneously change the size of all states and views of dynamic panels and components on the canvas. 2. Editing components should not use modal editing mode but adopt the contextual editing mode of dynamic panels. Similar to dynamic panels, the ability to directly set the overall and individual view interactions of components on the canvas. Abandon the raise event mode.